What if I told you everything you thought you knew about Hollywood friendships was a lie? That those smiles, those Instagram posts, those cute red carpet moments were nothing but carefully staged illusions designed to fool the world? Today, we're peeling back the glittery curtain on one of the juiciest, most shocking backstage dramas you've never seen coming Kelvin Harrison Jr. and Erin Pierre. Yes, the duo everyone claimed were just friends, the ones who looked inseparable in public, may have been playing a high-stakes game of deceit and betrayal while the cameras rolled. Who really knew what was happening behind closed doors? Who profited from the smiles while hearts were getting shattered in silence? And the truth, according to Jaguar Wright, is even messier than you could imagine. We're talking emotional manipulation, secret betrayals, and a scandal so calculated it makes reality TV drama look like child's play. Are these two actors victims of circumstance, masterminds of deception, or something far darker lurking beneath Hollywood's polished surface? Strap in, because what you're about to hear isn't just gossip hits and explosive, inside look at a world where friendships are currency, trust is a liability, and heartbreak is a weapon. This is the story Hollywood didn't want you to see from the outside. Kelvin Harrison Jr. and Erin Pierre looked like the perfect Hollywood friendship, laughing on red carpets, posting endless photos of brunches and late-night studio sessions, joking about upcoming projects and charming fans with their apparent closeness. But behind the carefully curated smiles and social media filters, something far more sinister was brewing. Sources tell us that what the public saw as camaraderie was anything but innocent. Jaguar Wright, never one to hold back, claims that this was a meticulously crafted performance of friendship built on manipulation, secrecy, and betrayal, designed to look flawless while hiding the cracks that ran deep beneath the surface. She called it a monster boy situation, a tangled mess of emotions weaponized for image management and industry advantage. Every glance, every laugh, every casual Instagram story was allegedly choreographed to keep audiences in the dark, to maintain a pristine veneer while chaos unfolded quietly behind closed doors. Friends, colleagues, even insiders who spoke off the record painted a picture of two men operating on completely different wavelengths. Kelvin, according to sources close to him, was emotionally invested, trusting, believing in the bond he had with Erin. He thought this friendship was genuine, built on years of mutual respect, late-night creative sessions, and shared experiences navigating the ruthless world of Hollywood. But Erin, they claim, had other motives entirely. He was strategic, calculated, playing a game of appearances and alliances, careful to maintain Kelvin's trust publicly while manipulating him privately. Jaguar insists that this wasn't just about personal betrayal, it was an orchestrated, high-stakes play, where feelings were secondary to optics and personal gain. Insiders have suggested that Erin used Kelvin's trust to gain leverage in circles that matter, leveraging the friendship to secure opportunities, industry goodwill, and social capital. Meanwhile, Kelvin was left blindsided, unaware that his own trust was being weaponized. Publicly, Erin appeared supportive, loyal, the perfect confidant, always there for the cameras and interviews. Behind closed doors, however, whispers tell a different story. Allegedly, conversations that were meant to be private were twisted. Meetings that were meant to be collaborative became arenas of subtle control. And what looked like casual jokes and banter often carried undertones of manipulation. Friends who tried to intervene reportedly found themselves shut out or dismissed, leaving Kelvin isolated at a critical moment when clarity and support were most needed. What makes this scandal even more explosive is the precision with which the deception was executed. Every public photo, every video, every snippet of their apparent friendship was carefully timed. From behind-the-scenes footage to casual lunch posts, the narrative was consistent: two friends, united and supportive, building their careers side by side. But those who knew the truth say that every smile, every laugh, every shared moment on camera was a layer of smoke meant to obscure a storm raging privately. Imagine the contrast: public adoration on one side, emotional turmoil on the other, and the dissonance so stark that it left Kelvin questioning his own judgment. Jaguar Wright calls it Hollywood's illusion machine, where trust is a currency, heartbreak is collateral, and the cameras always win. Sources allege that Kelvin began to notice subtle signs of betrayal, odd comments, unexplained absences, cryptic messages, but by then, the public image was too entrenched. He couldn't confront the truth without risking ridicule or damaging his own reputation. Meanwhile, Aaron's strategic positioning ensured that any narrative shifted immediately, that every leak, every suggestion of scandal could be deflected or absorbed into the larger image story they were selling. And here's where it gets darker. Insiders suggest that the manipulation went beyond just emotional games. Reports indicate that Aaron allegedly shared information selectively, whispered rumors in Hollywood circles, and even allegedly used Kelvin's vulnerabilities as leverage to maintain the upper hand. Jaguar Wright implies that this wasn't just personal, it was systemic. A calculated orchestration of trust, appearances, and the ruthless rules of an industry that eats the naive for breakfast, and it wasn't only about power, it was about perception. Hollywood thrives on perception, and the duo's apparent closeness became an unspoken marketing tool. Every interaction was carefully documented, studio sessions turned into viral content, casual meetups posted as lifestyle inspiration, appearances at events framed as bonding moments. Fans, the media, even colleagues bought into the image, unaware of the emotional cost. Kelvin, according to those who spoke off the record, was caught in a double bind. He was emotionally vulnerable, yet under the public microscope, forced to maintain the illusion of a perfect friendship. Jaguar Wright's commentary paints a picture of a man trapped in the perfect storm of manipulation, forced to reconcile public expectation with private betrayal, with heartbreak seeping into every corner of his personal and professional life. What makes this situation even more scandalous is the role of social media and public perception. Every viral post, every trending hashtag, every seemingly innocuous comment became part of the cover story. Sources allege that Aaron's team was hyper-aware of optics, ensuring that Kelvin was always positioned in a supportive role publicly while privately the dynamics were collapsing. Fans couldn't see the cracks, and frankly, neither could Kelvin at first. The betrayal was subtle, insidious, the kind that festers slowly but burns relentlessly. And while Hollywood thrives on drama, the level of intentional orchestration in this case, Jaguar Wright insists, is next level. She claims that this was not casual conflict, it was a full-blown emotional engineering project designed to manipulate perception, protect certain reputations, and leave others Kelvin, mainly carrying the weight of unseen heartbreak. Insiders hint that there were moments of reckoning, moments when Kelvin tried to reconcile or understand the inconsistencies he was seeing. Calls allegedly went unanswered, messages were allegedly dismissed, and any attempt to challenge the narrative publicly risked backlash from industry figures and fans alike. Every step forward in his personal reckoning was met with carefully constructed distractions, subtle manipulations, and pressure to maintain appearances. Jaguar Wright's description of this as a monster boys situation isn't just colorful language, it's a precise summation of what she calls a toxic, manipulative, and relentless emotional environment. One where image rules supreme and real feelings are expendable. The public, naturally, had no idea. Fans cheered every interaction, retweeted every laugh, and shared every photo, completely unaware that these moments were curated, rehearsed, and sometimes weaponized. Kelvin, sources suggest, felt the emotional weight of this dual reality, acutely caught between being seen as the perfect friend publicly and being betrayed privately. The cognitive dissonance was reportedly so severe that it took weeks before he could even process what had happened, let alone speak about it. Meanwhile, Aaron's silence or strategic communication kept the story contained, maintaining control over perception while letting the fallout simmer quietly. Jaguar Wright insists that this is not an isolated case. She frames the Kelvin-Aaron scenario as emblematic of Hollywood itself. Relationships, friendships, even trust are commodities, manipulated for public consumption, for career advancement, and for the satisfaction of curated narratives. And in this case, the stakes were high, emotional trust weaponized, reputations carefully managed, and the audience blissfully unaware. According to her, the betrayal is twofold. Kelvin was betrayed personally, and the public was betrayed by the illusion of authenticity. Every photo, every laugh, every interaction was a carefully constructed lie. A performance designed to protect the guilty and leave the innocent emotionally exposed. By the end of this phase, the stakes are clear, a star is hurt, a friendship is shattered, and Hollywood's machinery has proven, yet again, that appearances are everything, and the truth is optional. Jaguar's words echo through the chaos. Who can really be trusted when the cameras are always watching, when smiles are for show, and the lines between performance and reality blur so completely that even the participants themselves begin to doubt their own experiences? The story doesn't just stop at heartbreak, it leaves a question hanging over the entire industry. Over every interaction, over every viral moment. If this can happen to someone like Kelvin Harrison Jr., someone with talent, recognition, and a public persona carefully managed, then what does that say about the rest of Hollywood? And just when you think the story can't get any more complicated, sources hint at further layers: emotional leverage, strategic alliances, subtle manipulations that ripple through every encounter. Jaguar Wright calls it a perfect storm of optics and betrayal, and she isn't exaggerating. The intricate dance of deception, public performance, and personal heartbreak sets the stage for what is coming next. Revelations, consequences, and a fallout so intense that even casual observers will be forced to reconsider everything they thought they knew about Hollywood friendships. As the whispers started circulating, the story exploded across social media like wildfire. Anonymous sources claiming to have been close to the situation began dropping breadcrumbs that hinted at something far darker than a mere friendship gone wrong. One insider allegedly described the dynamic as psychological chess played with trust as the pawn, and fans immediately latched on. Threads on Twitter speculated endlessly. Why had Aaron been so quiet? Why did Kelvin look visibly tense in interviews following their public outings? The more people dug, the more cracks appeared in the pristine image Hollywood had so carefully polished. Suddenly, every red carpet laugh, every behind-the-scenes snapshot, and every studio handoff was under the microscope. The illusion of friendship was crumbling, and it wasn't subtle. It was spectacular. Sources claim that Aaron Pierre's strategy was surgical. He allegedly used public appearances as leverage, positioning himself as the loyal, supportive friend while quietly steering private conversations to his advantage. Every compliment, every agreement, every nod of approval reportedly served a hidden purpose. One unnamed source said, "It was like watching someone play 4D chess with emotions. Kelvin thought he was the king, but really, he was being sacrificed to control the board." Jaguar Wright described it as emotional warfare disguised as camaraderie. A Hollywood trick so refined it left observers in awe and shock at the same time. And if that wasn't enough, insiders hinted that Aaron was selectively leaking information to key industry figures to manipulate perception, ensuring that if the friendship ever appeared shaky, the narrative would pivot to make Kelvin appear irrational or overdramatic. Meanwhile, Kelvin was reportedly spiraling. The emotional toll of being manipulated publicly while privately betrayed allegedly began to affect everything from auditions to relationships with colleagues. Sources suggest he spent weeks in isolation, questioning not just his judgment, but the very nature of trust in his professional world. Friends who tried to reach out were met with silence or frustration, evidence that the situation had reached a point where even support systems could not penetrate the carefully constructed facade. Jaguar Wright's claim that this was a monster boy situation rings louder than ever here. What may have seemed like minor disagreements to the public were, in reality, full-blown manipulations with calculated timing and psychological precision. The scandal escalated when social media users started dissecting every interaction. Fans began cross-referencing old interviews, Instagram captions, and TikTok videos, looking for signs of tension, coded messages, or hidden meanings. Suddenly, the innocent brunch post became evidence of staged appearances, casual tweets were framed as subtle digs, and smiles in interviews were questioned for authenticity. Every comment thread became a battlefield of speculation, with die-hard fans of both actors clashing, theories multiplying, and conspiracy threads trending globally. Hollywood's image machine, usually quick to quash rumors, seemed caught off guard as the narrative spun entirely out of their control. Insiders alleged that leaked texts and private messages added fuel to the fire. While specifics remain unverified, sources claim that some messages suggested Aaron was aware of Calvin's vulnerabilities and used them to maintain the illusion of friendship while positioning himself for career advancement. Jaguar Wright reportedly described these revelations as proof that manipulation was not accidental, but intentional. Calculated down to the last emoji and response time, these private details, allegedly shared with media insiders anonymously, created a frenzy among fans who suddenly realized that the public image they had been consuming was not just curated, it was weaponized. Public reactions were immediate and intense. Headlines screamed speculation. Calvin heartbroken? Was Aaron Pierre the friend he thought he knew? And Jaguar Wright calls out Hollywood's most toxic friendship. Social media erupted with hashtags, memes, and viral threads analyzing every nuance of their interactions. Reactions ranged from outrage to disbelief, with some fans claiming they felt personally betrayed by the image that had been sold to them. Critics noted that Hollywood often packages relationships for optics, but few could have predicted the level of emotional manipulation alleged in this case. The story quickly dominated entertainment news cycles, trending across platforms and infiltrating conversations about trust, loyalty, and authenticity in Hollywood. Meanwhile, sources hint that the fallout reached inside Hollywood walls. Studio executives allegedly expressed concern over Calvin's public image and well-being, recognizing that this story, if it continued to escalate, could affect upcoming projects. Collaborations and box office projections. The duality of public adoration and private betrayal became a PR nightmare. Allegedly, Aaron's team began strategizing damage control behind the scenes, issuing statements, controlling interviews, and redirecting attention to upcoming releases or charitable appearances. Jaguar Wright calls it emotional theater meeting corporate strategy, and if these accounts are accurate, Hollywood had once again demonstrated its ability to manipulate narrative while hiding the human cost. The complexity of the scandal didn't stop at manipulation. Allegedly, there were reports of lavish industry events where the two were seen interacting, but sources say these encounters were meticulously staged. From coordinated outfits to synchronized laughter, every detail was designed to convey normalcy and intimacy while masking the undercurrents of tension and deceit. Fans, naturally, had no idea. Every post, every photo op, every casual handshake was dissected and praised, while the real drama unfolded quietly behind closed doors. Jaguar Wright insists that these moments, while seemingly trivial, were critical in maintaining the illusion of friendship and deflecting any suspicion that the relationship was fractured at its core. Insider commentary suggested that emotional manipulation extended beyond private interactions. One alleged source revealed that Aaron might have subtly influenced Calvin's professional opportunities, suggesting collaborations, steering conversations with producers, and even influencing audition perceptions, all while keeping the friendship narrative intact. This tactic, if true, demonstrates a level of strategic planning that goes beyond personal betrayal. It becomes a form of professional leverage disguised as care and loyalty. Jaguar Wright frames this as Hollywood's version of a perfect crime, where public perception, personal trust, and career strategy converge in a way that leaves one party elevated while the other bears the emotional cost. The public, now fully captivated, began drawing comparisons to infamous Hollywood betrayals of the past. Fans and critics alike reference the whispered scandals of A-list friendships gone wrong, reality TV manipulations, and orchestrated celebrity feuds. Every article, tweet, and threads seemed to amplify the chaos, fueling speculation and intrigue. And while none of these reports were fully verified, the volume of chatter created an undeniable pressure cooker environment where perception increasingly became reality. Jaguar Wright's revelations acted as the spark, igniting a firestorm that forced everyone, fans, industry insiders, and even the actors themselves to reassess what had seemed like ordinary interactions. At the center of it all, Kelvin was reportedly grappling with conflicting emotions. On one hand, he faced public scrutiny and speculation about his own behavior. On the other, he was navigating the personal devastation of trust betrayed. Sources allege that the isolation, emotional confusion, and public pressure created a vortex of stress and doubt, making him question not only Aaron's intentions, but the reliability of every relationship within his professional sphere. Jaguar Wright's framing of the scenario as a systemic betrayal becomes chillingly clear. This was not just a personal conflict, but a cautionary tale about Hollywood's capacity to exploit, manipulate, and weaponize emotions for entertainment and profit. And as the frenzy continued, more voices joined the chorus. Anonymous insiders, industry gossip columnists, and social media influencers all weighed in, speculating about motives, alliances, and hidden agendas. Every new post or article seemed to confirm that the story was far bigger than a simple friendship gone wrong. It was a sprawling narrative packed with layers of deception, emotional exploitation, and calculated image management. Fans debated endlessly: was Aaron the villain? Was Kelvin the unsuspect victim? Or was this a scenario orchestrated by Hollywood itself to maximize drama and control perception? Jaguar Wright's revelations framed the debate in stark terms. Friendship and loyalty may exist in theory, but in Hollywood, they are often commodities, carefully bought, sold, and manipulated. By now, the story had reached a fever pitch. Every new post, interview snippet, or fan theory added fuel to the fire. Jaguar Wright's commentary acted as both expose and moral indictment, warning viewers that what appears to be authentic may be the most dangerous illusion of all. Sources claim that Kelvin's emotional state became a topic of concern not only among friends, but among studio executives and collaborators, highlighting how deeply private betrayal can ripple through professional circles. The situation, Jaguar insists, is emblematic of a broader truth. Hollywood thrives on appearances, and in the absence of transparency, trust becomes the ultimate casualty. And just when it seemed like the scandal couldn't get any more explosive, rumors began swirling about potential confrontations, private meetings, and behind-the-scenes reckonings that could further shift the balance of power. Social media users speculated about leaked conversations, cryptic posts, and subtle hints in interviews, interpreting every gesture, every word, every pause as part of the unfolding narrative. Jaguar Wright's commentary positioned these revelations not merely as gossip, but as a high-stakes drama that blurred the lines between reality and performance, exposing the mechanisms by which Hollywood controls perception, narrative, and even emotion. The fallout was immediate and, as insiders predicted, merciless. Hollywood doesn't just allow scandals to simmer, it exploits them, monetizes them, and broadcasts them as both entertainment and cautionary tale. The Kelvin Harrison Jr. and Aaron Pierre situation quickly transformed from a private heartbreak into a full-blown industry spectacle. Allegedly, studio executives began monitoring every interaction, every post, every subtle comment to assess damage. Fan speculation became a data point. Social media metrics dictated PR responses. Sources hint that meetings behind closed doors were tense, the kind of rooms where whispers can determine the trajectory of careers and alliances, and where a single misstep could be leveraged into irreparable fallout. Jaguar Wright frames this as an illustration of Hollywood's dual power, controlling narrative while controlling people. No one escapes unscathed, and those who appear innocent may, in fact, be the most manipulated of all. As the narrative spread, the public exploded in response. Hashtags trended, memes circulated, and every entertainment news outlet scrambled to dissect, analyze, and amplify the scandal. ABC, E! News, and even Bravo insiders allegedly picked up the whispers, giving them the sheen of legitimacy. The story became a lightning rod for debates about authenticity in Hollywood relationships, emotional exploitation, and the cost of curated images. Fans debated endlessly, was Aaron the manipulator, Kelvin the unsuspecting victim, or were both actors trapped in a system that demanded emotional performance as part of career currency? According to leaked sources, the public response became so intense that even casual bystanders felt personally betrayed, as if their perception of friendship and loyalty had been weaponized against them. Jaguar Wright's commentary only amplified this, claiming that the audience's emotions were part of the manipulation itself, or a critical layer in the architecture of deception. Meanwhile, Kelvin's emotional state was reportedly deteriorating under the weight of scrutiny and betrayal. Sources alleged that the actor struggled to separate public perception from private reality. Every interview, every photo, every congratulatory post became a reminder that the world was watching, expecting performance while his personal trust had been shattered. Jaguar Wright described it as a psychological storm, engineered by design, a scenario where the individual's humanity is secondary to the narrative being sold. Allegedly, friends and colleagues attempted to intervene, but Hollywood's machinery, as always, proved formidable. PR teams, media strategists, and industry insiders all worked in tandem to maintain the story's momentum, leaving Kelvin to navigate the emotional wreckage almost entirely alone. Then came the leaks, those subtle, devastating breadcrumbs that often ignite the most firestorms. And verified texts, private voice notes, and alleged insider accounts started circulating online. Anonymous sources claimed Aaron had used strategic timing to sow doubt, manipulate perception, and maintain dominance over the narrative. Jaguar Wright highlighted one particularly explosive allegation that personal vulnerabilities shared in confidence had been weaponized to control both public and private impressions. While these reports remain unconfirmed, the speculation alone was enough to create a media frenzy, sparking debates about ethics, power, and trust in Hollywood circles. Fans, as ever, dissected every post, every expression, and every deleted story as if forensic evidence could reveal the truth hidden behind carefully curated illusions, and the hypothetical consequences began to emerge, as if Hollywood itself were writing the next chapter. Jaguar Wright hinted at potential legal inquiries into the manipulation and breach of trust, teasing scenarios where studios, PR teams, and even third-party advisors could face scrutiny for their roles in engineering the perceived friendship. Social media conjecture suggested that reputational damage could threaten future projects, endorsements, and collaborations for both Kelvin and Aaron. The theoretical fallout became a full-blown narrative: resignations, revoked contracts, and industry reckonings, all imagined in high detail by audiences hungry for drama. Every rumor, every speculation, every tweet became part of a larger story, a story where reality and imagination merged into a sensationalist spectacle. As the saga unfolded, Hollywood insiders claimed that financial and professional stakes were just as high as the emotional ones. Allegedly, Aaron's maneuvering and public image management gave him a position of power in upcoming projects, while Kelvin's perceived vulnerability became a talking point in boardrooms and casting offices. Jaguar Wright described this as the commodification of emotional labor, a cruel twist where heartbreak becomes a strategic asset and genuine feelings are secondary to marketable drama. Sources suggest that even casual interactions were scrutinized, with every smile or comment evaluated for potential impact on career trajectories. The entire system, Wright argues, thrives on orchestrating uncertainty, controlling narrative, and maintaining suspense. With the public and even the involved parties caught in its gravitational pull, public sentiment reached fever pitch as the scandal appeared in mainstream coverage. Leaks, rumors, and online speculation were picked up by outlets like E! News, ABC Entertainment, and even late-night talk shows. Every platform amplified the drama, feeding both curiosity and outrage. Fans debated intensely about morality, ethics, and authenticity, dissecting every alleged interaction between Kelvin and Erin. Jaguar Wright repeatedly emphasized that this was more than personal betrayal, it was a systemic failure of transparency. A cautionary tale about how Hollywood relationships are manufactured, manipulated, and monetized. Emotional harm, it seemed, was only collateral damage in a game where perception reigned supreme. And then came the hypothetical confrontations, the private meetings, the veiled exchanges, the subtle gestures hinting at reconciliation or retribution. Insider accounts suggested that Kelvin considered confronting Erin publicly, yet feared backlash, professional sabotage, or further manipulation. Jaguar Wright speculated on the tension. If one wrong move were made, the carefully maintained illusion of normalcy could collapse entirely, sending shockwaves through the industry. Allegedly, the psychological warfare extended to mutual acquaintances, who were forced to pick sides or navigate treacherous social dynamics, amplifying the drama while reinforcing Erin's control over narrative and perception. By now, the scale of the scandal was immense. Fans, insiders, and media alike were invested in the story, each adding layers of interpretation, speculation, and judgment. Jaguar Wright framed it as a study in power dynamics, emotional manipulation, and the high cost of curated appearances. Trust, she claims, is weaponized in Hollywood. Loyalty is conditional, and public performance often takes precedence over genuine human connection. Sources allege that Kelvin's emotional fallout became part of a cautionary tale circulated among emerging actors and industry newcomers, a warning that friendships and trust can be exploited for visibility, leverage, and influence, and yet the most shocking element remained the audience. Jaguar Wright repeatedly stresses that public engagement itself becomes a tool in these manipulations. Fans' reactions, interpretations, and viral sharing amplify the drama, making the emotional spectacle profitable, performative, and self-sustaining. Every comment, every post, every theory contributes to a feedback loop that reinforces the narrative of betrayal and spectacle. Hollywood, in this scenario, doesn't just produce films or TV, it produces emotion, performance, and the illusion of authenticity. And sometimes the cost is heartbreak so profound that it echoes far beyond the private sphere. As the hypothetical dust settled, the questions remained. Could Kelvin rebuild trust in an industry that seems designed to exploit it? Would Erin face the consequences, public or private, of the alleged manipulation? And more. Alleged manipulation? And more.